Hello, how are you guys today? So, I'm going to do stick to your rib spaghetti, and y'all love it, and so I'm just going to do a really quick tutorial on that for you so that you can see it. Now, the reason we call it stick to your rib spaghetti is because you cook the spaghetti in the sauce, and it actually cooks itself, which is really super fast. I used to always do this when I was a busy mom with lots of kids going to practices and all kinds of stuff and just running all over, having to run to the store and grab something for the night. So my hamburger's already pre-cooked, but normally I would cook the hamburgers just like that. And I'm going to add an onion. Yeah. And I think I'll do my onion in this nifty onion peeler. Ugh, struggling. You know, the thing is, when you get home from work and it's been a long 12-hour day, everyone needs a big piece of chocolate cake waiting for them. Okay, I'm going to slice this in half. Then I'm going to put it in my amazing onion chopper and chop it up. My amazing onion chopper is missing the chopper part. Yeah, that would help. So this is a really great chopper. I love it, and because it all comes apart to go perfectly well in your dishwasher. Yeah, so you probably couldn't hear me. Oh, but that's like, okay, there, that's in there. Stick to your rib spaghetti I make with my homemade spaghetti sauce. Don't get carried away. It is not really spaghetti sauce. It's my version of homemade spaghetti sauce, which is everything left in my garden at the end of the summer. And I run my tomatoes through a sieve, a big Treo strainer, so I get rid of the seeds and the skin. Can you see it? Maybe you can see it. And then I run my onions. I chop up onions in the grinder. I grind bell peppers, red peppers, celery, whatever. And look, it's really thin. Check it out. There's really nothing thick to it at all. And because there's nothing thick to it, I add tomato sauce. So you can totally use the 28 can, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. The large can of crushed tomatoes. The one that's about that big. I remember. I was thinking it was 28 ounces. Is that right? So I'm going to put that in there. And I'm stirring it around, trying to kind of mix it in. I have it on really high heat. If I was frying my hamburger from raw, I would have fried my onions in with it also, but my hamburger's already cooked. I am using extra hamburger. So I'm going to let that boil. It's going to come up pretty quick. Heat right up. And I'm going to look for that big size can. Do I have one? Yeah, I think there's a... It's the can that's this size. I know that's not a can of tomatoes, but it's the can that's that size. Positive it's 25 ounces. It's bigger than the 8-ounce can. Anyway, sorry. A little bit of salt. You can put garlic in it, but I do not do that. And then I sprinkle in 2 teaspoons of dried basil. Mix it in. I'm actually going to put in some oregano also. Mix that in. And this is Mexican oregano, so, you know, about half a teaspoon. And just because I like spicy arrabbiata spaghetti sauce, I'm going to throw in maybe 1/16 of a teaspoon of chili, just chili flakes. That's what I like. Okay, see how it's boiling nicely? It's boiling on the sides. I'm going to mix that in like that. There we go. Now then, we have got the next thing you need to do, because I will be adding this dry spaghetti to this mix. I'm going to fill this quart jar, or the large can of diced tomatoes, with water. I'm going to dump it in there, and it fills the pan. Now I'm going to bring that to a boil, and I'm going to let it boil. See, it's already boiling. I have this on my very hottest burner. Burn, baby, burn. Inferno. Burn, baby, burn. Another burn down, burn. Oh, okay, I'll be quiet. That's annoying. I'm going to have some of my chocolate cake, because every person should have thick, decadent chocolate cake waiting for them when they get home off of a 12-hour day. Are they boiling? Not yet. Close. So I like kosher salt. I normally use kosher salt. I just keep forgetting to get it when I go to the grocery store. And I don't have any in my fruit room right now, which is super duper uncharacteristic, but it is what it is. So, oh, and you know what else I love in my spaghetti sauce that I forgot to put in? Cumin. It's the secret ingredient, really, to spaghetti sauces and to Mexican food. Cumin. Comino. Oh man, I should have put that water in as soon as I put in the homemade spaghetti sauce. Ha ha ha. Look how liquid it is though, right? And sorry, I just don't want it to, I don't put my spaghetti in until that's boiling. But it's starting to boil. And move it over on the heat. Get the heat evenly dispersed. I know, that's super annoying, but that is just the real life of a cook. You make noise. It just makes noise. You wash your spoons off, you wash your scissors off. Alright, we have boilage. Alright, so here we go. This is a package of 12 ounces of spaghetti. This happens to be Garden Delight veggie spaghetti. Do I really believe there's veggies in here? No. I think it's all a marketing ploy. But I got it at a pretty darn good price. And so I'm keeping it. Now you're asking, how is that all going to fit in there? It normally does. I do it a couple at a time. A couple of handfuls at a time, and I break it in half. And I kind of layer it in. I'm going to turn down the heat. The boiling is going to get out of control here. Okay. And then another handful, and then I layer that the opposite way. And then the last handful, and this is the beauty of this dish, and the reason we call it stick to your ribs spaghetti is the sauce cooks into the noodles, so it's not saucy. It's not super saucy. It's super noodly. and it really does stick to your ribs. You know, there's the only fat in here is what was on the meat. When I ate plant-based whole foods for quite a while, instead of meat, I put in just huge chunks of portobello mushrooms. And yes, I did soya, because our Latino market here in town had big chunks of soya, and when you reconstituted them, they were like large hamburger chunks or chicken chunks, but they don't get them like that anymore. Now they have the ground up ones like everyone carries. But anyway, I'd throw that in there too. So can you see it's coming back to a boil? And I'm going to let it boil it up a little bit. And then you put the lid on it, you turn it off, and you let it sit for 20 minutes. And when you come back, if it's super juicy and saucy still, but your noodles are done, I add cheese, because cheese is a thickener. And I stir the cheese in, probably a cup and a half. And then when you're done, top it all off with Parmesan and the Romano, or whatever you have. Waiting for it to boil. Boil, boil, boil. Waiting for it to boil. Yeehaw! Okay. Are we boiling yet? Getting closer. So look how full it is. And normally, you know, we would be really concerned with that full of a pan at boiling that would boil right over. But you know what? It does not even matter, because as soon as it gets boiling really, really well, I'm going to turn off the heat and I'm going to put the lid on it. I'm just going to let it sit. And when our kids were home and I always had to run them places, if we had an errand to run, I would hurry and make this. Now I'm like sticking my spatula down there and kind of separating the noodles a little bit. If you don't do some separation with them, you will get noodle clumps. But they separate out pretty easy when it's all done. I know, right? Can you believe that? I would put the lid on it. I'd run down to the store and buy pens and pencils or notebook pads or hairspray or whatever it is they needed for the night. And then by the time we got back, it was always done. And then we could eat. And the other thing about this is that because the noodles cook inside of the sauce and it's not extremely saucy after you're done, it's not a really good one to reheat later. It's better if you eat it within about an hour. That's just me though. Oh my goodness. Why is it taking so long to boil? Oh, because I didn't have the heat up all the way. Well, that makes a big, huge difference. Okay, see how it's super boily over here? Not quite. Oh, it's starting to get some good boils going on. So once it's boiling all the way across, really boiling well, that is when I lid it, put the lid on it, and turn it off, and then just let it sit. It is a miracle. And had I had my heat turned all the way up, it would have boiled like 5 minutes ago. Especially if I would have put my jar of water in it as soon as I put in my spaghetti sauce. So, to recap, since you don't make your own spaghetti sauce, that's totally fine. You can use a can, the large can of tomatoes, crushed tomatoes with basil, crushed tomatoes with whatever. Throw that in there, throw a can of tomato sauce in, the 18-ounce tomato sauce. Throw a can, the big can of water in there, bring that to a boil. Basil, oregano, whatever spices you like in there, salt and pepper. Oh, I haven't peppered it yet. And bring it to a boil. Throw the noodles in. I use that 12-ounce box of noodles, or like that big of noodles, if you can grab them by your hands. I break them in half and I put them in like 4 sections. Okay, that is boiling. I'm pretty happy with the boiling there. It's getting ready to want to pop over the pan. I'm going to lid it off. Done in 20 minutes. Bye.